Welcome to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome to Community Partners, the show about community leaders and those who inspire others to do great things in our world. Okay, you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so... And welcome back, everybody, to the Community Partner Show, and where the whole purpose of the show is to actually showcase those who are community heroes and those who try to do really great stuff for the community as a whole. And we're here today with Francesca Anastasi. She is an international speaker, business growth strategist, consultant, trainer, mentor, and she produces a podcast and I believe what it is a video show called Succeed Against the Odds. Now, I think earlier before we got on here, Francesca, you said that there are actually two different shows, maybe with two different topics and two different audiences, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
The audience is the same. It's targeted to the same audience of same type of people. However, the episodes that are on the audio podcasts are not the same episodes that we have on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay, that's got to keep you busy.
It does. It does. You know, I'm really lucky, very blessed to have really interesting guests, and they make it. They're all professionals for the most part, and they make it very easy. My job is very easy working with them, so I love working. I love doing the interviews because I got awesome people on the show.
And that's what makes this a lot of fun. So why don't you share with everybody who is listening here, who is Francesca, and what is it that you do, and what is it that you love to do?
Oh, the $1 million question. Well, who is Francesca? Francesca is a very determined woman and the most unlikely person to become an entrepreneur. I started out not being an entrepreneur, never thought I would have any part of my body inclined in that direction. However, due to life circumstances, I was forced into becoming an entrepreneur. And I have a couple of businesses. And what I do with one of my businesses, well, basically, I like to inspire people to live their life at their fullest, at the same time to run their businesses, if they have a business, to make their businesses shine as much as they do. So that's kind of what I do. I'm a business strategist. I work with entrepreneurs, primarily small businesses and solopreneurs, and I help them save a lot of money that can easily be wasted by not applying things that need to be applied. Some of my clients come to me after they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars with coaches and found out that maybe coaching wasn't exactly what they needed for their business, that they needed more an actual business strategy that worked, with their actual business. So that's part of what I do. So, like I said, I do a lot of things, but that is part of what I do.
Right.
And what was the last questions you had asked me? What it is I want to do?
Love to do.
What I love to do. I just love doing anything that makes life better, whether it's for myself, for my family, or for the people that I'm in contact with. Like my goal is to inspire every person that I'm in contact with, whether it's in person, whether it is through my podcast, whether it is through my clients, whether it is through the YouTube show, whether it is through my speaking. My goal and what I like to do is to touch people in a way that they can see the potential and move forward in that direction. Truly, that is the essence of what I like to do.
It sounds like that this may or may not be true. That most people they don't see their full potential, and they need help and to bring it out to so that they can fully shine their light. Is that right?
Yes, that's part of it. I think you nailed it right on the head when you said a lot of people don't see their potential, and I think most of us, I'll include myself, we don't push ourselves and we don't use all that we are capable of using. And I think we do ourselves a disservice when we are not pushing ourselves to be more, to do more. And when I say to do more, it doesn't mean to just do everything and just drive yourself crazy. That's not what I mean. But I think we with our lives, we're given an amazing gift. The potential is there to do incredible things. And most of us really don't use that. It's the same as being gifted like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, one of these, super performance vehicles, and then just kind of drive them from home to the grocery store and then park it and not really use it for what it's supposed to be used for, its full capacity and what it's actually able to do. So I think we're all given these vehicles, but we're not using them to their full potential. Mm-hmm. And it's there. We all have that. We're all given the same vehicle.
Right. So when I introduced you, we introduced you as both a coach and a consultant. That means that there's a difference between the two. So what is the difference, and how do you figure which of your clients need which?
It's a very good question, Michael. There seems to be a lot of confusion over the difference between the two. Coaching is a relatively new term and a new profession in the last 20, 30, 40 years. And the difference, basically, to answer your question, is that the focus of coaching is on the person and the personal performance, whether it's in personal life or if it's personal performance around the business, how one operates around their business, whether it's their vision, what they do, their efficiency, staying on track, the accountability factor. When it comes to consulting focuses more on the specific tangibles of what needs to be done versus, so it's kind of out of the head and more of the hands-on part. So for example, if I'm working with a client, based on the conversations of what it is that needs to be achieved in the end, I'll have to determine if the business is not moving forward because of the person's mindset, because they're not able to find clarity in the direction they want to go. So that falls under coaching. Mm-hmm. Maybe they need accountability to stay on track and keep doing what they need to do. And the consulting aspect of the business would be more of, okay, let's see, what does the business need now in order to move forward? Where are things? Is it the way the website needs to be structured? Is it the branding aspect? Is it the marketing? So it's more of the actual business itself. So what the business does versus what the person needs. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. What is one of the biggest challenges that you see most entrepreneurs needing coaching with? And then maybe we can touch on what maybe some of the big problems that, as a consultant, that you see inside of their businesses.
I'm sorry, I
Okay.
kind of I couldn't hear the question very well, so could you repeat that?
Okay. Okay. What is the biggest coaching problem that most entrepreneurs need? They need help with? What is the biggest problem that they need help with as a coach for the entrepreneur? And then maybe after that, you can maybe answer what is as a consultant, what is the biggest problem that you see within people's businesses?
Okay, so as a coaching, on the coaching side, typically the reason one would want to hire a coach is for help in the mindset, in getting clarity in the direction they want to go. Um, Basically, is being clear within themselves
Mm-hmm.
and also in staying accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the consulting part, would be more of the structure of the business and how the business itself is running. So, for example, I had a client this morning, and it was kind of a mixture between the coaching and the consulting when I was working with her, where the coaching part was her mindset on how she sees herself in the business versus the consulting was, okay, so how do we structure the business? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And what I'm hoping is that makes a lot of sense to those entrepreneurs who are actually listening to us right now. Understand what it is that they're looking for when they're hiring a coach versus a consultant. You know, because most people may not get understand the difference, right?
Right. Like a consultant can help you, depending on what the consultant is an expert in, because there are consultants in so many different areas.
Mm-hmm.
A consultant can help you with your actual marketing strategy and how to go about the marketing strategy and laying a whole marketing strategy plan. Can also help you with developing a business plan if that is what you need. It can help you with creating a branding strategy on how to set that up versus a coach would not be doing that. A coach would be working with how you see yourself, how you act, how you perform.
Right. Okay. So, here, here's a loaded question. How is it that you decided? You said you were unlike the entrepreneur. So, how did you decide to become an entrepreneur? What pushed you in the direction?
Yeah, I did mention it was kind of forced. It was out of my hands in a way. Well, I was going through, and I don't know if you know the story, but I was going through a divorce at the time, and before I became an entrepreneur, and I was working in a corporate job, and I ended up losing my job within 10 days of losing my home to a fire. And what happened was this was like in January of 2001. So I started looking for work. I was a single mom fighting a divorce, looking to get help with child support. My job barely paid my bills. I had all these legal fees that were, I was paying lawyers, so it was an expensive ordeal. And when I lost the job in the home, I was looking really hard to find a job because I had to find a place to live, and I had to keep supporting myself and my daughter and pay all my bills. But what was happening was I was going to all these job interviews and I was not getting the jobs. I was not landing any of them. And I started looking for work in January, and then all the way through the spring and through the summer, I wasn't getting jobs at all. No matter how hard I was looking, 1 month I had 33 job interviews. That should kind of give you the gist of how hard I was looking for work. And then September 11th happened, and the interview stopped completely, and my unemployment insurance was running out. So I had to make a decision that if nobody was going to hire me, I had to figure a way to bring money in. And the only thing I could think of was, well, I'm going to have to start a business. So it forced me into starting my own business. So that's how it started. I was completely clueless. I had no idea what to do. I enrolled myself into a self-employment program to learn how to get started. I made every mistake in the book at the same time. I did everything that was in the book. And I just kind of fell in love with the business of business. And I've been studying business since. So since 2001, that's all I've been doing. So,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. So now I like to help other entrepreneurs that, to make them successful, because the odds, honestly, were totally against me when I started my first business. When I started, nobody came to my door. I had done everything to a T, and I still wasn't getting the customers at first. So that kind of forced me to study deeper into business, into the whole psychology of business. And I just fell in love with it. And I see how much easier it is, and I see other people struggle. So I feel like I'm the one that can help, because I can see that gap and bridge that gap between the struggle of getting the clients and getting them in.
Yeah. Now, I was at one of your signature talks,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember you showed a graphic of a Chinese food menu, and you said that you use the layout of the Chinese food menu to advertise for your dance studio.
Yes, yes, I did.
Yeah, go. You'll probably tell the story a lot better of how you succeeded with that than I can. So go ahead with that.
Okay, so that was for my first business. So when I did launch, when I decided to be my own boss, basically, and start my own business, because nobody else would hire me, I decided that if I was going to do something, it was going to be something that I would enjoy doing every day. I kind of knew that I had to keep myself motivated, and by doing something that I actually enjoy doing. So at the time, dance was something I just absolutely loved doing, and I am a teacher by heart. It's just what I've always done. I like showing people how to do things. So when I opened the studio and I did my first marketing, and like I said, nobody came. And so it was a very, very painful and very costly mistake. And I had to come up with a new strategy. I had to have a strategy on bringing people through the door. And since my market were primarily women,
Mm-hmm.
because the studio was for adults learning dance as adults, and I figured that the market that I was reaching, that I wanted to reach, was a working market. Women who'd be going at work, always wanted to learn how to dance, had put that, it was kind of a lost dream. They probably felt there was never a possibility of doing that. They come home tired, wanting from work, always doing everything for the family. Now it's time to maybe order pizza because they didn't feel like cooking. So they'll be going through their mail, and here is this, what looks like a takeout food, but lo and behold, it's something else that makes them feel like, oh, this is different. Oh, I didn't know I could take classes. Oh, so there's still hope for me. Oh, this is cool. So, and that was the whole idea behind the food. It was the way to get their attention in a different way than other studios would.
Okay, so my next question is going to be about you and being a business strategist and how that all comes together with what you did with your first business. But just hang on for a second, because I need to get to some messages from some sponsors, and then we'll be right back with more of Francesca. Okay, so hold on, Francesca. We'll be right back. Welcome to Depictions Media Radio. Diane Hume has a personal goal to help 1 million people find their dreams in abundance and fulfillment.
I just attended Diane Hume's bootcamp, Live Your Life Now. And what I can say, for one day, it's some kind of transformational experience all of us got. It's shifting our mind, and it's awesome. I won't tell you too much because you have to experience that. And it's about dreams, about relationships with yourself, about affirmations, and about going to the next level.
Come to the Dream Receivers Bootcamp and realize your dreams. Type in DianeHume.net right now.
You are looking for success with your business and products. Go with the best, the professional voice, Earl Thomas the Voice. I will create more money, clients, and success for you. Over 70 businesses chose my voice to advance their business, products, and profits. Look on my LinkedIn profile for 27 recommendations from satisfied clients. I look forward to hearing from you at dukeearl@shaw.ca. That's DUKEEARL@shaw.ca. I am Earl Thomas the Voice, creating vocal paradise for your exact needs.
And welcome back to Community Partners. We're here with Francesca Anastasi, and she just told us how she used the layout of a Chinese food menu to advertise for her very first business, which was a dance studio, and how she got people excited to come to her dance studio using this strategy. So, Francesca, how did that turn into you doing business strategies for other businesses?
Well, what I found is that as I was getting into my business, as my business was growing, as my dance company was growing, I was training instructors, and they had to find work elsewhere on top of where they were working in the studio, because it's technically impossible to be a dance instructor in a specific art form at a dance studio, like full time. And a dance studio offers different art forms. There's not enough work out of one studio to be full time. So I had to, not only I train instructors on how to become instructors for my studio, because the studio is expanding, constantly expanding. As part of that training, I offered training on how to find work outside of my own studio so that I could keep my staff happy and not feeling that there was no other venue for them. And I just found that I just loved sharing that part and coming up with more strategies. And as I was doing that with my instructors, there were other people that were coming to me asking for help that were not in the dance industry. And that's kind of how it evolved. So it kind of went on from there into now helping entrepreneurs in every field, pretty much. I work with coaches, I work with interior designers, I work with real estate agents, I work with photographers, you name it. I've worked with I have all kinds of customers. So it doesn't really matter what kind of field they're in now. So that's how it kind of expanded.
Yeah.
And it kind of led into what I'm doing now.
Wow. But it sounds like a lot of that business strategy, especially going back with the very first business of viewers, is around getting attention to the business and getting people to know that you're out there and even doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple questions that go along with this. How do you fix the mindset of the entrepreneur so that they understand that they shouldn't just be hiding behind the curtains in the stage of business, and they need to come out and find their own spot and their own spotlight in their community's business centers?
Well, if you stay behind the curtains, nobody can see you, so you can't expect people to know about you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
It's pretty simple. It's very, very simple. Like when I see my clients face to face, I actually show them, if you're hiding behind something, how are you supposed to be noticed? How you can't expect people to know about you if you're not seen.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to know about you? You can't rely on someone else. The old word of mouth works. but it's only one tiny, tiny little aspect of your marketing strategy. A lot of people rely on word of mouth and expecting clients to just land on their lap. And it doesn't really work like that. If you are serious about your business and you want a business that is effective, you need to be seen, because that is part of what business is. Like, what's the point of having a flashlight and keeping it turned off in a backpack if you're in a dark room, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's how do you change the mindset? Well, it would be reframing. You have to reframe and look at your own business. If you're listening to this for your audience, if you're listening to this and you feel like you're afraid of putting yourself in the spotlight, well, depending what you like, you have to ask yourself, why are you in business in the first place? Because if you're in a business where you're providing a service, how can you service people if they can't see you? How can you service people if they can't find you? You're not really servicing them. You're actually kind of taking away from them. So if you think of it as a form of coming forward to provide a service,
right?
It's not the spotlight is really not about you. It's about making yourself visible so they can find you, so that you can help them, whether you have a service or you're providing a product.
Right. That makes perfect sense. Believe it or not, sometimes finding businesses that want to come on to this show, they're like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to be the star in the community like that. I don't know if the community needs to see me the way you're talking about. And I'd say to them that, but you have a message for the community. Aren't you doing a disservice by not allowing them to hear and see you delivering that message?
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that there's other people out there, consultants like you and coaches that are actually telling people the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, I guess the next question to that is it hard after you demonstrate to them that they're actually performing a disservice to people by not being out there? Is it hard to get them to actually push them out there from there? Well,
each person is different, and every business model is different. So it depends. Like, I would have to. I'm not gonna say everybody needs to be on a Facebook Live or everybody needs to be on YouTube. Different personalities is a major factor as well, and different business models would require different ways of different strategies on how to be seen out there. Not every person who is a business owner needs to be the face of the business, but the business needs to be visible. So if you are the driving force behind it, that's why I say every business is different. It's not a blanket answer. However, there can be a strategy for every model, every type of business. And it's a matter of finding out which one is the right one for the business and for the personality as well. So if someone is really shy and does not want their face forward, but they want their business to be forward, there are strategies to make that business very visible without them being the face of the business. So there, it depends.
Yeah,
there's more than one way. Than one way to do so.
Yeah, I like how you put that. That's really cool, because maybe they are too shy to be out there themselves, but there's still a way to make their business shine like it's supposed to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What would be like the best advice you could give to somebody to ensure, when they're considering starting a business, to ensure that they will succeed?
What I tell my clients, the ones who are in the startup phase, is that they have to decide before they even start. They have to decide now if 10 years, like what it is that they want to do with their business in the long run. Is this going to be a business that is going to be growing to a certain level, like an international level? Is it going to be something that they want to be a one-man show for the whole entirety of the business? Or is this a business that's going to have a big team eventually? Is this a business that's going to be an online business where they can travel? Where do they see themselves? They're so basically looking at the model of the business that they can live with in the long run. They also need to ask themselves, will they get tired of this business? And if they do, is this something that is sellable at some point, so that they haven't just ran a business for so many years and then they go, okay, I'm changing my mind. And if they change their mind, they're doing something else. Is it something where they're going to shut the doors, or is it going to be set up in a way that they can sell it so they can actually profit from all that they've done in the first place? So it's very important to know which way to structure the business, to be very clear, and also the way the business gets structured before launching. So that's the biggest advice I can give. And most of the time, you need help with coming up with that. It's something that I don't recommend to do on your own. So whether you use a coach in this case or a consultant, it kind of probably need both for the actual structure of the business. But figuring out what you want in the first place, that's the coaching side.
Right.
And then the consulting part would be in actually developing the structure around the personality as well as the business itself.
Wow. That's, you know what, that is excellent advice, because I don't think most people, they figure, oh, I'll just hang my shingle up and I'll tell my friends that I'm going to do this as a business, and that's as far as they think about it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately, as exciting as that may sound at first, it's really leaving a lot of potholes or a lot of loose ends, and that's what starts the struggle. Starting a business like that is setting up for struggle, and that's why so many businesses fail. A lot of startups fail because there is no proper structure, there's no proper I really don't like to call it a business plan, but it kind of is. There's really not a proper strategy with it. And without that, the odds are against you. And that's why my show is called Succeed Against the Odds. It's basically, highlighting the different things that can be done so that you beat those odds.
Right. That really, really makes sense. So I know you've experienced a lot of success with everything that you've done, and you've been on very, very many stages. And can I say TV show or leave it at video show?
Well, I honestly don't know. It's on YouTube, so some people call them TV shows. I guess it is a TV show because you can now watch YouTube on TV, so I guess it is a TV show.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
TV show, podcast / radio show, because we all know that a podcast, you put in the right system, it'll get picked up by a radio station eventually.
I hope so.
yeah, exactly, right? That could be that is the hope, right? So you've experienced all this success and with all these other things, and what's your next biggest project? What's
interesting.
What are you going to do now?
What am I going to do now? Well, yeah, because I've had other projects before. I've kind of put to rest the Magnificent You Women's Conference. That was a project that I had been stewing on for a long time, many, many years. And finally, I realized it back in 2016. It was supposed to be a one-time event, and it was very successful. And during the event, everyone was asking me, oh, you have to do this again, you have to do this again. I really didn't want to do it again. But after a lot of thought, I thought, okay, I'll do another one. So I did do a second Magnificent You Women's Conference just this past March. However, I've decided that I'm not going to do any more because my plan was not to continue doing them anyway. I'm pleased with that. However, I do have another company where the focus for my other company is to raise awareness of the signs of that lead to domestic violence. And my big project that I'm working on right now, which is big to me, is to create programs for people who've gone through traumatic situations and get them back into full potential living life as it should be lived after trauma from domestic violence. So creating these programs for this particular group, and also to start bringing programs into the schools on creating awareness that way as well.
Right.
So that's my big project on the side, on top of the things that I do. Yes, everything I do goes back into the community and into supporting, because it goes back to that full potential, right? It goes back to that Lamborghini and Ferrari concept. We're all given this vehicle, and sometimes this vehicle gets banged up, whether it's through domestic violence and life experiences, and we go through this trauma. And what happens is then the vehicle doesn't run properly. But there are things that can be done to make that vehicle run back in full potential and get back on the track and at full speed if it wants to go that.
Right.
We don't have to be beat up. So I really like to get more people out of victim mentality and, living as powerful, resilient, and major contributors to the world.
Right. I like what you're saying there, because okay, you're touching on some things that are very, very personal and to me, having seen people victimized through domestic violence, and having personally been told that, in my own personal story, that, hey, you're useless, you're worthless, whatever you have to say isn't ever going to be any good anyway, so you might as well just shut up before you even get started. And turning that around so that I've did building a media business and speaking in front of people and having podcasts and TV shows myself, right? So so that to me is really important, that you would be doing that kind of work, especially after all the successes that you've had. So it would be very easy for you to just say, "Oh, I succeeded," and leave it at that. But to give back to the community that way, that's really touching. So,
well, I've been there myself. See, that's the thing. Maybe that is one of the reasons it's so dear to me. It's something I've been working on this for the past 8 years. I have an annual event that revolves around, supporting the shelters that help victims of abuse. And partly is because I've lived through abuse myself. So it's it's a very, very personal to me as well. And I applaud you for stepping up and, not letting what happened to you make you go behind the curtain and hide and say, well, you know what, I'm going to have a media show. So you're going to be up front and even sharing what you just shared here online. Yeah. So that's part of it. That's part of the healing, right? That's part of acknowledging it, because we can't ignore what happened. But we also have to make sure that it's not going to keep us down, right? And we can do great things with our stories.
Okay. So, with that being said, let's get another break in here and some messages from some sponsors, and when we come back, we'll have Francesca give us the best way to contact her and that one last golden nugget that you will need for your business. Okay, so, and we'll be right back. Have a show idea? Contact us at Depictions Media. Email your show idea to Michael at depictionsmedia.com today. Diane Hume has a personal goal to help 1 million people find their dreams in abundance and fulfillment.
I just attended Diane Hume's bootcamp, Live Your Life Now. And what I can say, for one day, it's some kind of transformational experience all of us got. It's shifting our mind, and it's awesome. I won't tell you too much because you have to experience that. And it's about dreams, about relationships with yourself, about affirmations, and about going to the next level.
Come to the Dream Receivers Bootcamp and realize your dreams. Type in DianeHume.net right now. And we're back again on Community Partners, and we're here with Francesca. And Francesca, so can you give everybody out there one last golden nugget of advice so that they make sure that their business shines in their community?
One golden nugget of advice to make their business shine. Other than what we've already shared, I would say, don't think about yourself being in the spotlight. Think about helping your customer. That is like really kind of change the perspective on how you look at it. If you're to make your business shine is just really put your best face forward, your best foot forward, and be the best that you can be at what you do, whether it's how you run your business and how you present your business. That is key in order to succeed. On a mindset level, I would say so many things I could say here. I'm just trying to narrow it to one, see if I can get a really good one for you. It's just really acknowledging all the potential that is within you. And I know it sounds so generic. It really does. However, everybody has it. Everybody has something special. And the beautiful thing is that we are all so unique. And if I can give you the biggest nugget, I guess, is don't copy anybody else and actually be yourself. Don't copy someone else's business model. You can get ideas from another business model. But I would say you can get the ideas, but then make it your own and bring that uniqueness that is you. Because being a copy will never help you stand out.
Wow. I like that. Being a copy, you won't stand out. That is so true. So, yeah. So what are the best ways for people to connect with you and work with you?
Well, lots of ways you can reach me. I am all over social media. And you can, I can be reached through my website. I know it's a little harder to spell for people who don't speak Italian. My website is francescaanastasi.com. You can also have a back way into my website by going to succeedagainsttheodds.com. It will point to my podcast page and my show page, which is right within my website. So you still automatically get into my website. And there's a contact page there. So you can reach me that way. That would be the easiest way to do it. Go succeedagainsttheodds.com or look me up on social media, francescaanastasi.com.
Okay, great. It was great to spend the afternoon with you.
Well, thank you, Michael. This has been great. Great opportunity. I thank you for having me in your show.
Yeah. So I look for hopefully there'll be a reason to contact you and have you come back.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, especially as your next project develops. I would like to have you come back when that's actually fully out there. Maybe we can do something on location or something like that. Maybe. So really showing you how you're helping people in our community.
I would love that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for everybody for listening, and have a great afternoon. And we will see everybody next time. Welcome to Depictions Media Radio.